Pep Guardiola there, very slightly backtracking on what he said about Jack Grealish and Phil Foden. He did drop them for the Newcastle game. He actually admitted that because they turned up at training after having a big night out, not in the condition that Pep Guardiola expects from his players. When you look at Jack Grealish, who does start today, how do you assess currently his time at City?
Well, it needs to be said. I think that these guys, Jack Grealish, he's allowed to go out and have a good time. Probably shouldn't do it over the holidays with so many games, but okay. You need to be responsible. You know, you need to come into training fit and ready to train. It's on Jack Grealish to adapt to Manchester City and to Pep and what they expect. His entire career, when he was at Aston Villa, he could do no wrong. In fact, sometimes he did do wrong. It didn't matter. He'd be put on that left wing. They'd give him the ball every time, and that was his role as a footballer. When you get to Manchester City, things are different. There's a lot of players who can play all those different roles, and you have to adapt because what Pep Guardiola wants is, from his front players, he wants you to be able to play left, right, false nine, and he might tell you that during halftime. He might tell you that on a Friday before the match. You're not going to have a ton of time to adapt to it, and he expects you to get out there and produce.
Now, we always ask footballers in interviews to be honest, and that's what we want from them. But then a couple of weeks ago, Jack Grealish maybe was a little too honest because he came out in an interview and said, I've really found it a lot harder than I thought I would. I thought I'd score more goals. I thought I'd have more of the ball. The problem with that, Robbie, is it kind of opens him up a little bit to criticism.
It does, and it magnifies what maybe some people are thinking. Everybody now jumps on. He's not doing as well as we expected, even him saying it himself. I think it is obvious that he's finding it a little bit difficult. I think Tim's right. All good players, particularly at Man City, have to adapt to their new surroundings and their new manager's plan. And basically, it's pretty simple. He needs to score more goals and make more assists because all the other players that are in the same position as him at the football club are doing better than him. I could argue cynically that they didn't really need him in the first place, and we're seeing that now because whoever it is, Foden, Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, they've all got more goals and assists. But longer term, if he can adapt, he's got the tools for it, he's got the skill, he's got the pace, he's got the cleverness, the touch, he's got all the tools. He's just got to fit into the Pep way of playing at City.
Well, in terms of off the field, you mentioned it just there at Villa, he wasn't always perfect. There were some moments off the field of indiscipline, and yet he always played. With Phil Foden, with England, he's been sent home from an England camp. And again, with Grealish just a couple of weeks ago. Are you concerned that these two are not learning?
No, I still think, you can get second chances, and I do appreciate that. I think that, a little bit to your point, Robbie, when you're at Manchester City, we almost call them boring sometimes because everybody plays their role. No one's above the team. You hear that said in sports. At Manchester City, no one's above the team. Your center back scores 3 or 4 goals, no problem. You still stay in your lane and do your job. And Pep wants you to express yourself, just not at the nightclub. He wants you to express yourself on the pitch. And so, again, this is the learning part about how do I stand out but still kind of fit into what the team actually needs from him.
What I would say is, now that he's had a bit of a slap on the knuckles from his manager, I don't expect it to happen again.
Sure.
And even the first time, Tim, it just makes you think, wow, and maybe it's Pep thing, but do you think you're more current in terms of playing than I am, of course? Is that something that's got even more strict in football clubs? We used to have quite a few nights out, but do you think that sort of thing over the period of time, a long time in English football, that they've got, the managers and clubs got stricter on your behaviour?
Absolutely. The behaviour and the diet and everything that goes into it has gotten more strict. I still think second chances, if a guy can help the football team, is going to get it. And with Pep, he doesn't leave you out in the cold too long. You look at John Stones last year, had some off-the-field issues, had a chance to earn a spot. Jack Grealish will be fine. I do believe that.
And with all the iPhones about, imagine if they're about when Mustoe gets out. Hey, those nightclubs with Robbie Mustoe. Oh. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series, and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches, and much more.